the Wisconsin fight has had a huge influence on the Republican presidential race. It has created a great kind of reservoir of envy because the political pundit class and a lot of the political class itself really wishes they had a Scott Walker running for president, or at least a Paul Ryan, another Wisconsinite who's the chair of the House Budget Committee. They want a fire-breathing, anti-union, kind of radical change agent who says we can go do all this stuff and we can win. Instead, they got Mitt Romney, which is about as lousy a second choice as is humanly imaginable. In fact, it's so lousy a second choice that many of them have begun to consider Rick Santorum, who's arguably, the definition of a footnote in politics, who is now being raised to superstar status. And so there's no question that the Wisconsin thing has hovered over it, to the extent that Jim DeMint, the very right-wing senator from South Carolina, said he wished he had a Scott Walker in the race. When the Conservative Political Action conference was held in Washington, they could have put anybody in the Friday night keynote slot, the prime keynote slot at the conference. They could have put Mitt Romney. They could have put Newt Gingrich, who could at least, give an entertaining speech. Instead, it was Scott Walker who gave the keynote address on that key Friday night point. And I think that a lot of conservative forces hold Walker up now, not as a presidential candidate. They actually know he would not translate well nationally. But they hold him up as an example of what a Mitt Romney or a Rick Santorum should aspire to. That swashbuckling, yeah, I'll take on those unions, whatever I've got to do kind of character. That's what they want. Although it's important to understand that they want it in theory, not in reality, because if Scott Walker was actually the Republican nominee for president of the United States, I think he'd have a very, very hard time of it. I don't think he'd translate well at all. But the left does the same thing, too. There are points at which the left likes to have a gathering where it's told what it wants to hear. Scott Walker goes to these events and he tells them what they want to hear, and they love it. And so he will be a factor throughout the race. You will see him mobilizing the base. I'm sure he will have a good speaking slot at the convention. And ultimately, if he gets defeated in a recall election in Wisconsin, maybe he'll get a job in a Republican administration someday.